What does America get right?
The public library system. In my county alone, we have over 10 different libraries with transfers between them, so there's a vast selection of movies, books, magazines, etc.
National parks.
So when you say, America is the best country in the world, I don't know what the F you're talking about. Yosemite?
If we're talking the US, their national park system is good. They were the first to sort of do it and got the rest of the world into it too.
My sons and I were recently in Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks, and we were so grateful those are protected areas. Best thing ever.
Handicap accessible buildings.
I never appreciated them until my dad ended up having to use a wheelchair.
This country has remarkable natural beauty. The national park system was a good idea even if it's underfunded and overcrowded now. In Colorado, search and rescue is free, and that is a very good thing. We also do craft beer well. Sorry, I wasn't clear. Search and rescue is free in Colorado when it's carried out entirely by a SAR team. That is completely different when life flight and professional medical services get involved, in which case you are paying big time because this is after all the US. I promise you though, having volunteered with SAR in 2 counties, it is entirely free for us to search for you, find you, carry you out under our weight and with our gear including ropes and stretchers etc., treat you in any way that can be done in the field, and often free even if it includes a military helicopter on loan used to spot your location. I've never been a part of a technical extraction, but I still think it's free as long as we're just scooping you from a tough spot and not extracting you for immediate medical treatment or a hospital trip. It gets insanely expensive if your injury requires a life flight helicopter extraction and hospitalization. Air ambulance is not the same as SAR itself. SAR is free and SAR teams actually work very hard to get this message out there so that people do not hesitate to call. I don't know the laws of other states, but given how often I've heard SAR teams harp on how it's free in Colorado, I think it must not be in other states. Our teams are all volunteer. There's also a such thing as a Corsa card which anyone who hikes in Colorado should get. It is not insurance. It is not insurance. It costs $3 per year or $12 for a 5-year card I think, and it means that any expenses that search and rescue spends on a rescue for a person who holds one of these cards can be reimbursed by the state in order to replace gear, fuel, etc. If you don't have one of those cards, you will still get your rescue, and the team will just be out that money. So consider buying the card so that state funds can go towards donating gear and training for the team. Again, so many of you are worked up about the fact that I said we have decent craft beer. I can promise you, if you're pretentious about someone on Reddit saying that there is decent craft beer somewhere in their state, you are a tool in real life. No, I'm not talking about ridiculous fruit smoothie sours and Coors Light equivalents. Yes, there are a billion breweries and most of them are bad. This isn't that serious.
Everyone should thank Teddy Roosevelt. That man loved nature and hated people.
NASA, even with all the government and political bullpoo, it's still taking great strides in taking humanity forward, but more importantly they focus a lot on educating the common folks during missions. I love that all the information and pictures and everything NASA produces are publicly accessible for free, and not even under copyright. I'm not even American, but NASA had a great role in creating interest in me about space and astronomy when I was growing up.
My wife is a science communicator for NASA and she'd be so happy to read this. It's her entire job to educate the general public on why the International Space Station is hugely important, and what science is going on up there on the daily. Chili harvest this past Friday. Grown entirely in space, and yes, the astronauts got to eat them, a huge deal when you're up there for so long. Any food with spice, crunch, or other interesting texture is very welcome.
General aviation access for the public.
My school just put out an aviation program and got a ton, over $20,000, worth of airliner equipment and 2 broken down planes completely for free. It's an awesome program with some dedicated people behind it.
The ADA. America is really accessible compared to many of, if not most, other places. I consider myself able-bodied and I travel a lot. When I do, I'm reminded how special the ADA is. And as an able-bodied person, I'm also aware that designing things for everyone makes them better for everyone. Edit, typo.
Wow, this is a surprisingly positive comment section.
I was thinking the same thing, very refreshing for a change.
Did someone say free public restrooms?
No joke. This is all thanks to an actual grassroots campaign started by high school kids in the 1970s. Link.
This is the most good things I've heard about my country, lol.
It's extremely refreshing. Every time I come on here or other social media sites, it's like I'm supposed to feel ashamed of where I'm from.
Revisiting its history in TV documentaries time and time again. Here in Canada we'll do it once, rerun it, and then bury it in a vault or archive, never to be broadcast or available as a DVD or VHS back in the day ever again. There's a lot of Canadian documentaries and broadcast TV rotting away like this.
My experience living in America is that there is a lot of product choice, from foodstuffs to candy to drinks and other everyday life products. As a small example, here in Brazil you will often find at most like 5 or 6 soda flavors, while in America there are so many I don't even know the actual number.
Discouraging smoking cigarettes.
You really don't notice this until you go somewhere like Europe where a lot of people still smoke. Hardly anyone smokes here anymore, and I can remember smoking sections in restaurants.
Chips and queso. Turning Halloween into an all-ages celebration. The kids get to trick or treat. The adults throw their own parties. Everyone gets to dress up and have fun. I love driving and walking through neighborhoods and seeing people who have gone crazy decorating their lawns and houses with horror decorations. Some even turn their places into haunted houses that people could go through while they trick or treat. It's even fun when you go into regular stores like Target and they get into the spirit by playing scary theme music on the PA. Thriller always seems to be playing somewhere. Outside of larger cities during rush hour, driving is pretty good, with few toll roads.
Movies.
Burgers. Like, each one is better than the next. I'm not talking McDonald's or Burger King, I'm talking burgers in bars. No other country I've been to comes close.
It's weird how almost every burger is the best burger I've ever had.
Retail. I go to a store in Canada and they'll have maybe 2 or 3 options for the item I'm looking for. I go to the same store in the US and it'll be more like 6 or 7 to choose from, often better quality for less money. The last 18 months showed me how much I took living in a border city for granted, being able to pop over there for a shopping trip.
I love the American experience. I live in DFW and I don't take it for granted. There's Japanese revolving sushi bars, Russian bathhouses, Korean supermarkets, Mexican foods, Italian markets. Globalization is alive and well. It's my favorite thing about America.
Music. So many musical revolutions started in the US.
Living in a country where most of the bands, artists that I like tend not include it in their touring destination, it makes me really envious of the people who get to enjoy the live show's laughing face. For example, a friend of mine in the US told me that he has seen Iron Maiden when they performed in a small venue of just 200 people. That sort of thing.
Classic muscle cars. Oh damn, there's just something about 60/70ths American cars. Sure, they're boats, but damn, they look and sound amazing.
Your entertainment industry is second to none and absolutely light years ahead of all other nations. In terms of content, the States is in a class of their own.
America's greatest export is the culture and entertainment.
According to my friends who moved here from Germany and Canada, the freedom to be whatever you want. Not so much career-wise as just expressive of personality-wise. They both felt that being different in those places made you stick out like a sore thumb. The German also pointed out that career paths are very restricted there. You get on a track and you stuck there.
I'm feeling fuzzy inside seeing people compliment my country LMAO. Now I know how it feels.
Well, most Reddit posts are about what is wrong with America. It's a pretty putty thing to read, because there's a lot of great things here, but we definitely have our issues.
Canadian here. My near-universal experience with Americans is that they are generous and helpful. Many would give someone the shirt off their backs if asked. Collectively, y'all are crazy, but individually, the best people I've ever met.
America is the epitome of asterisk, a person is smart. People are dumb. Asterisk.
America does space exploration and space technology very well. And they are good at conventional war.
Being able to turn right on red lights.
Giving in times of need, I think. The government always cocks things up, but when awful stuff happens somewhere, average Americans want to help. Horrific volcanic disaster in the Caribbean? Just hours later, people are texting in donations to rescue and recovery efforts. Hurricane Katrina, Cajun Navy shows up to help. Earthquake and famine in Haiti. You have musicians Pomplamoose figuring out how to get goats to people in need. While there are always exceptions, I think average Americans, paycheck to paycheck, truck driving, weekend football, everyday Americans, want to help when and where they can.
Diversity. Hard to believe if you're American, but for real, very few countries handle it as well. The National Park Service, and attracting the world's best and brightest. Edit. Since this blew up, I'd like to add one of my favorite quotes from the newsroom. This country was built by greater fools.
Convenience. I love going to Europe. But every time I go I miss the convenience of America. Grocery stores have everything you could want. 80 different cereals or potato chips. We got it. It's 2 a.m. and I want pancakes. How about a burger? Well, the diner down the road from me has it. Within a few miles of my house I can get Chinese, Jamaican, pizza, Korean, sushi, barbecue, Mexican, Indian, Thai, etc. Maybe I want to go shopping at 10 p.m. and buy a toaster. Well, Walmart and Target are open. I admire the simplicity in some countries since places tend to close earlier. Especially on Sunday. But here you can get what you want, when you want. I take it for granted until I travel overseas.
A lot of things. I'm not American, but the world owes the Americans gratitude for so many techs and startups and inventions that has made life on this planet more convenient or easier. The internet, for example. I understand the innovation process isn't a solitary affair and you build upon previous knowledge and innovations. But you still gotta give credit where credit's due. Also, the P.
Freedom of speech and press. Many people don't appreciate that the reason America seems to have so many problems is largely that the problems get exposed and discussed whether the government likes it or not. Many countries that seem more orderly seem that way because the government controls information flow.
I have a friend that lives in Malaysia and we sometimes talk about how crazy America is. She will mention things she hears in the news and be critical because so much crazy poo is reported she thinks the entire country is going insane. My main response is America will always look bad because we broadcast our poo for the world to see. The moment you stop seeing the American government acting crazy, or we suddenly look like everything is totally fine, then you need to worry. So many other countries have strict rules on what can be broadcast, what information can get in and out, and obviously, it makes them look better to the outside, but that is often just a facade.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.